So Shams Charania yesterday, he reported that for the first time ever, the Memphis Grizzlies are listening to offers for Ja Morant. They're comfortable with moving Ja Morant. They're ready to turn the page on him, get this Ja Morant era over with. And it's interesting because his value couldn't be any lower right now. He's playing horrible this year. You look at the stats are terrible. His shooting percentages are embarrassing. And then you actually watch the games because stats don't tell the whole storyline. And your eye backs up what the stats are saying. So when you watch him, you see he's not getting to the rim as much as he used to. He's not creating the same separation the way that he used to. The effort on defense isn't there. Not that he was ever like an all-NBA level defender or anything like that, but the effort simply isn't there anymore. Just flat out, he's terrible this year. So you ask yourself, who's going to trade for him and how's this going to go? And there's one of two ways it's going to go. So the worst case scenario that this could go would be when the Knicks traded for Steve Francis. So the Knicks, they trade for Steve Francis. At this point, he's 2 years removed from being an all-star. His first year in Orlando, he was actually pretty good. People kind of forget how good he was that first year in Orlando. His second year in Orlando was a disaster. But he was clearly on the downside. He had battled some injuries, and same thing with Ja Morant. Battled some injuries. He wasn't getting the same separation that he used to from defenders, wasn't getting to the rim the way he used to, wasn't getting to the free throw line the way he used to. But the Knicks, they didn't really give up anything to trade for him. And they were like, all right, we'll buy low on him. This is a guy who was former All-NBA. He's still, I believe he was in his mid-20s at that point. Maybe there's a chance that, you know, this can be a reclamation project. If it works, it's going to work great. I mean, now looking back, hindsight 2020, even if it worked out, a backcourt of him and Stephon Marbury together was never going to accomplish anything. But it didn't work at all. Steve Francis was cooked. His knees were gone. His explosiveness was gone. Steve Francis was cooked. So that is the worst case scenario. Somebody trades for Ja Morant. And Ja Morant hasn't had a major knee injury or anything like that, but he has had a bunch of injuries, and his body might just be at the point that it can't play the way that he needs to play to be effective. So that'd be worst case scenario. You trade for Ja Morant, and he's just cooked. You got him on contract for a couple of years, eating up a big contract number, and he can't really contribute anything to your team. Worst case scenario there. Best case scenario, back in, I believe it was 2005, the Golden State Warriors, they traded for Baron Davis, and they literally gave up nothing. I was looking at the trade last night to refresh my memory because I was like, they had to have given up a draft pick or something like that, right? No, they gave up Dale Davis, who at that point was like 36 years old. He was just a contract. And Speedy Claxton, who I don't even think played more than 10 games for the Pelicans, or the Hornets back then, after that trade. So they give up absolutely nothing for him. 2 contracts, just a pure salary dump. Because Baron Davis, that year, he had only played like 15 games for the Hornets. His numbers were way down. He'd been battling injuries. And people were questioning, you know, has he peaked? Is this the downside of his career? So the Warriors, they were able to buy low on him. And they got some of the best years of Baron Davis's career. They obviously got the We Believe year out of him. There was another year they won. Didn't they win 50 games and they missed the playoffs? They were the 9 seed in that stacked Western Conference, and 50 and 32 didn't make the playoffs that year. Fucking crazy. That's how stacked the West used to be. But the Warriors, they got some damn good years out of him, and he breathed life into that franchise for the first time in over a decade. So that's best case scenario, is somebody buys low on Ja Morant. You don't give up any draft picks or anything. It's just a straight up salary dump for the Grizzlies. And then Ja Morant comes in and he's revitalized, and he just needed a change of scenery, and he breathes new life into your team. So that's why, like, as a Chicago Bulls fan, even though Josh Giddey is a point guard, and even though Ja Morant has his off the court issues, his on the court issues, whatever, I'm not saying he makes sense for them, but as a fan of the team, whether we're talking Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, Trae Young, like, if there is an all NBA level talent out there and you're able to buy low on them and bring them in without giving up a draft pick, I'm always of the mindset that it's a good idea to do it, because if it works out, the ceiling of those players is just higher than the ceiling of any other player you're going to be able to acquire. So for any team out there, man, I think the Ja Morant risk might be worth it. Best case scenario, you get a Baron Davis with the Warriors. Worst case scenario, this is Steve Francis at the end and he's just cooked. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Ja Morant trade that you can come up with? Where's he going to fit best?